everybody, welcome to Mondays with Mocha Leela. The next thing we're going to talk about is wigs. Wigs! Okay, now these are purely some suggestions just in case you guys wanted to know how to put on your wig, how to put on your wig cap, suggestions on where to buy your wigs, some wig styling tips, and wig maintenance. So let's just get started. So suggestions on where to buy wigs. If you're asking yourself, do I need a wig for my cosplay? And your answer is yes, then you have come to the right place. The first thing that you need to know is, what is your budget? What can you afford? Whether it be $15 for a wig, or if you can splurge a little, then I have suggestions for you. For someone working with a lower budget, I would suggest looking into places like eBay, Amazon, and Etsy. Sometimes you can find amazing deals on these sites, but sometimes the quality may vary due to different sellers. My suggestion would be to not buy a wig below $10. I personally have had many issues with this in the past, buying even cheaper wigs and having to buy them again due to the quality at another site for more money. But sometimes you can get really lucky and buy an amazing wig for not so much money. For example, my wig right here that I've used for Chopper has lasted me such a long time, and I've used this for multiple cosplays. Sometimes that will save you money as well, is reusing a wig for a different character if they have the same hair color and same style. An example of this would be when I cosplayed Mako, and then I also cosplayed Chopper recently. For someone who can splurge a little bit, my suggestions would be Arta wigs and Epic cosplay wigs. Personally, I have only bought Arta wigs, so I can't really say anything about Epic cosplay wigs, but I have heard very good things. But I know they are both really good quality wig shops. I personally highly recommend Arta wigs simply because they are cheaper than Epic cosplay wigs and they are a little bit easier to style. Arta wigs are around $30, while as Epic cosplay wigs are around $50. However, Epic cosplay wigs has really good quality as well. So it just depends on which budget you're working on. So how to put on a wig cap and wig. The first thing that you need to do is make sure you take off any necessary earrings or any kind of jewelry that you may have. The next step is to put your hair up. Fortunately, since I have short hair, I don't necessarily need to put my hair up. If you do have long hair, I would suggest putting it up in a bun. That way it creates less pressure on your head from the wig. Once you have your hair up, it is time for the wig cap. So usually you would get one of these wig cap things. It's usually like netted, and you would get it from an eBay seller sometimes or an Amazon seller sometimes. And if not, I think they're like $2 on eBay that you can just buy them and you can use them. I know that also people used pantyhose instead of the wig cap, so that will work as well. So you want to make sure you take your wig cap. I kind of make sure I have a nice hole through it, and I put it through my head like that. And then you make sure that you have the harder part kind of below your neck, and the netting, you want to make sure you put it over your head, like so. You want to pull it all the way up, make sure it's around your ears, and you're ready to go. So now for the wig. So we're going to use my Futaba wig that I got from Arta. It's a Venus, and it's a long wig. It's in pumpkin. And so what I kind of do for longer wigs is I literally just take the front of it and kind of put the back of it behind me. And then I take, there's like this part right here. You want to make sure that lines up with your hairline. So I take the wig and put it around your wig cap. And now I take the front of it and I move it up. So it looks like that. Okay. And typically on wigs, and I'll take this off, typically on wigs you'll have these little clippy things. If you have a longer wig, I would suggest clipping them around your wig cap. That way it's a little bit less strain on your head. Now, for this specific wig, I actually have a really nice wig, and it actually has one of these. It's like a little wig comb. What it does, it eliminates the pressure of a longer wig. So it kind of just sticks to your netting of your wig cap, and it'll just kind of stay there. And if you don't have that luxury, then I would suggest using some wig glue. This is like hair glue, and I honestly forget where I got this from because it's been so long, but you just kind of put a little bit like around your hairline, and I don't have my wig cap on very good, but I'm just showing you guys a little bit. But you basically put it along your hairline, and then you take the wig and you kind of press it on there, and what it'll do, it'll just stay on there until you take it off. And I suggest doing that very carefully because it will pull your skin. And that's that for putting on your wig. Next is maintenance. Now for wig maintenance. So I usually make sure that I brush out my wigs at least once before I go to a con, so that way it's easy to take out and you don't have to really worry about brushing it when you get there. So in that case, if you don't go to a con regularly, I would suggest kind of brushing them out once every few months. So as you see here, I kind of store my wigs in kind of like a shoebox, and you can kind of store them wherever you would like, but I just put it in a shoebox because it's a little bit easier to transport since I go to a con, as I said, regularly. So what I use for my wigs is I kind of make sure that my wigs are kind of inside out like this, unless it's like really styled, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that. Or I kind of put them in like a little bag that it came in. And then I kind of just shut it and it's ready to go. Now, if you do happen to have a really crazy styled wig, I would suggest kind of leaving it on that wig head, and then that way your styling doesn't get messed up too much. I would also kind of keep my tools and such in my wig box as well. I don't have any in here as of right now because I'm showing you guys kind of styling tips. And next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to style a wig. Now this looks a little ridiculous. Typically, if you do like happen to have a wig stand, I would suggest using that, but what I do is I make a makeshift wig stand. So I get like a foam head that you can find at any craft store that you go to, and then I literally just take some duct tape. It doesn't really matter what color, and then I literally just tape it to a little table, and I make sure that the wig is kind of going more towards the end. That way it's a little bit easier to style that way, especially if you have long wigs to style. So if you guys were curious, this wig is also from Arda. I actually just recently got this wig, so this came in like not even like a few days ago. And this is specifically for Koala from One Piece. I believe it is a Magnum in red orange. So it is actually I actually really love the color and I love the cut, so I think it'll be perfect for styling Koala. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you get is a comb. Now this looks crazy and ridiculous, like why do you need a comb? Well, you see here, it's a little messed up, so you want to make sure that you kind of comb it out so that way you can style it properly. And now sometimes you can see it gets a little tangled. Make sure that you start from the top down. So if it's like really knotty at the bottom, don't worry about that. Make sure that you go from the top down. So the next things that I have here is I have some styling products that I use regularly. So what I use is I just use some like Garnier Fructis. I just use, you know, some anti-frizz stuff, as well as hairspray. Now I know that there's some wig spray out there for if you have something crazy to style. Like for example, if you have like a Prompto wig to do and you have to get that little chocobo butt up there, then I would suggest using some wig spray for that. When you are brushing out your wig, the reason why I suggest using these like anti-frizz serums or whatever is because it's easier to brush out the wig that way as well. So as I've told you guys, I'm going to be doing koala from one piece. So I would suggest before you style, just get a lot of reference pictures for her. So that way you kind of get an idea of how you're going to style your wig. So I'm going to use this one. Now I personally like this picture simply because I've actually seen it in the anime myself. So get a picture as close to the character you're doing as possible. Next on my list, as you can see, I have like these scissors. Now I used some just like regular kitchen scissors, but for wig styling I ended up buying these really nice like just styling scissors that you can find at like a Sally's Beauty, or you can find it at like Ulta Beauty, and these were honestly only like $12. So they weren't too expensive. So if you want it easier to cut, I would highly suggest using these. So this seems to be a little long for koala. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a little bit off, as well as cut a little bit of her bangs, because if you see that, it's just kind of parted in a much different way than it is right now. Now for styling. So what I like to do here is I'd like to take my scissors that I told you guys before, and I literally just kind of take a little bit off at a time. Now I can't really show you guys that really well, but just literally take a little bit at a time because it literally goes a long way. It's also better to do a little bit at a time because if you're not used to doing it, otherwise you will definitely regret it later. I had a wig where I cut the bangs and it wasn't straight, and so it ended up looking so crooked and just ridiculous. So make sure that you take a little bit at a time unless you're absolutely used to it. Also, if you've never cut a wig before, I know that I was extremely nervous about it. So what I would suggest doing is buying a really cheap wig off of eBay and just test it out. See for yourself and see what works for you. Also, I would make sure that the wig is heat resistant, especially if you're planning on straightening your wig or curling your wig in that way, simply because it may end up damaging your wig if it's not heat resistant, if you're planning on doing that. Alright, and here's the end result, guys. I kid you not, this only took me like 10 minutes to do. Like, I didn't really have to take off a lot on her, but I did take a little bit from the back, simply because it is a little bit longer, but I literally just kind of curled the fronts in a little bit, and then I did a lot with her bangs. So, and that's kind of what she looks like right here. So she had a lot of side bang action, and she kind of had a little bit of the curls in the front, and I think that that is it. And that's it, guys. And I've realized that I forgot to mention that in order to kind of have your wig stay on the head, I usually kind of just use some sewing pins, and I literally just poke the wig onto the head, so that way it just kind of stabilizes it. And I usually do like maybe 2 or 3, like one on each side. If you realize that you just absolutely cannot style a wig and it's just not your thing, you just are not willing to learn or anything like that, then I would suggest getting it commissioned. Somebody online usually says like commissions are open. Sometimes, you know, that you'll see that on Divine Art, or sometimes you'll see it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And I would suggest contacting those people, and they will usually do a pretty decent estimate for you. Otherwise, I would suggest going to Etsy, because I know that sometimes they already have pre-styled wigs on there. And that's it for Mondays with Mocha Leela. I hope you guys enjoyed my little wig tutorial and all about wigs. But if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to contact me on social media. My links are down below, and I'm also going to be putting the links to the wig sites down below as well. And feel free to hit that subscribe button below if you would like to see more of what I do. But until next time, guys, thank you guys so much for watching Mondays with Mocha Leela. Bye now!